had to bring y'all this because here go the View, Whoopi Gold Turd and her minions back at it. Not only that, it seemed like Sonny Hostin just wanted to flip the table over. She is so mad at Chuck Schumer. She pretty much called him out everywhere Chuck Schumer done went talking. His own party done turned on him. Now he can't even really do stuff because now he's getting death threats. He's getting everything just because his decision to support the Republican spending bill. And now all hell just done broke loose. I mean, the interview that he even had today, it just blew up in his face. Everything is just going bad for Chuck Schumer. So, of course, now he's still trying to say, oh, Donald Trump is this, Donald Trump is that. Donald Trump ain't no good. Of course, they started going after Elon Musk. But we definitely finna go ahead and dive straight into this. And not only that, Sonny Hostin thinks that AOC and Jasmine Crockett is the future of the Democratic Party. She feel like those two right there can take down any Republican, feeling like they can take down JD Vance. So if AOC and Jasmine Crockett is all y'all got to run with, let's go. I would take that twice on Sunday. Let's go. Because JD Vance would destroy both of them in the debate. It's not going to even be close. Because the thing is, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Chuck Schumer, all of them think alike. They just different. They different people, but they all think alike. So we definitely going to dive straight into this. Make sure y'all please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, let's dive straight into it. But first, I want y'all to listen to Sonny Hostin pretty much trying to say AOC and Jasmine Crockett is the future of the Democratic Party, and the Democrats should run them. And then we're going to jump into the regular video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into it. Check this out.
No, I think the Democratic voters say 2-1. They want party leaders to fight rather than compromise, even at the risk of not getting things done. And I think that's what we're seeing. Yes, you want people to be able to exercise their First Amendment rights to protest and to get into the streets, get out there and say, this is what we want. But we know that this administration is not playing by the rules. They're certainly not playing by the Constitution. And people are now being arrested for exercising their constitutional rights. So you do need a leader, but you need a leader with fight. I've said it over and over again. This is not about being a resistance party. That's very passive. This is about being an opposition party, which is an action. That's very, very active. And when you look at leaders that it seems that people are supporting, you're looking at the Jasmine Crockett, who doesn't care.
Oh my, look at this dumb crowd.
With his cane, who's saying, my constituents need Medicaid. You're looking at that. You're looking at, I would say an AOC. Her name keeps on coming up because she's out there every single day saying this.
Great.
What were you thinking and why?
Okay. So look, I knew it was a difficult choice, and I knew that I'd get a lot of criticism for my choice. But I felt as a leader I had to do it. Here's why. The CR bill was bad, no question. And it allowed a slush fund, which allowed money to be pushed around.
Explain it for the people who don't know what
There's
CR means.
CR means continue the government spending.
Right.
A shutdown, the alternative is cut off the government spending. And here's what would happen if we cut off government spending. It would be devastation like we have never seen.
Worse than we're seeing now?
Much. Here's why. That's why I did it. I wasn't going to take this flack just for having a lot of fun. The bottom line is a government shutdown works like this. All government spending is stopped. All. And then the executive branch, Trump, Musk, Doge, and this really evil man people don't know about, Vote, who's head of OMB, his name is Vote.
What does OMB mean?
OMB is the Office of Management Budget, which determines the spending. And they could cut off anything they want simply by saying it's not essential. So, day 2, SNAP, food for poor kids, not essential. Day 4, mass transit, New York City subway and subways all over, not essential. Day 7, Medicaid, not essential. People don't need Medicaid, they should get their own health care. And this would happen over and over and over again, and there's no check. The biggest problem is that it has been determined that the courts have no say. Yeah. And the only say is the executive branch. Now, in the old days, when there was a shutdown, they'd work it out. But this is a different, horrible kettle of fish. Mm-hmm. They hate the government. They want to shut down everything. You heard what Musk said, $2 trillion. And so this would have been so devastating. And here's the second part that's maybe just as bad. There's no exit strategy. How do you get out of a shutdown? Guess who determines it? Trump, Musk, Doge. They're the only ones. And one of the Republican senators told one of the Democratic senators, you get in this, we're staying in for 6 months, 9 months, a year till we decimate the entire federal government.
Can I do a follow-up question quickly?
Yes. So it was so bad that I felt I had to do this. Now, it's not happening immediately, but what does a leader do? When you're a leader, if you see a real crisis a little bit down the road, your job is to stand up and say we cannot.
I almost cried today for these people, these vets who are losing everything. Why don't the Democrats go out there and march and stop fighting with each other? I'm sick of it.
Well, I don't know, Joy, that they're fighting with each other. They're not fighting a unified fight.
No,
that is
no.
the problem.
The fact that Nancy is now out there criticizing Schumer, stop it.
You know why she's criticizing him? Because he should have been fighting for that veteran. He should have been fighting for the people of America that are feeling the way that they are feeling. The Americans that I've spoken to, people that approach me almost every single day, say they don't feel like the party is fighting for them. This is not about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Go out and fight for them.
But it's not about. Well, he had the opportunity to fight for them. Chuck Schumer caved to the GOP and got nothing. This was not actually the choice. But Joy, the choice was not between a no vote on the partisan GOP spending bill and a possible shutdown. It was a choice between a no vote and forcing Republicans to explain why they walked away from that possibility of a bipartisan agreement. And the core disagreement was around a willingness to fight, even if that meant convincing the public that the harm from a shutdown was the fault of Trump and the Republicans, because they are going to do exactly what they are doing. They're taking money away from vets. They're going to take money from Social Security. They're going to take money. So let them hold the water for them. Let them hold the bag. Democrats in the House were prepared for that fight. Chuck Schumer caved.
They didn't have the votes in the House. Okay, so it would have been worse if he didn't concede. It would have been worse. And that's what was surprising about Pelosi saying that, because she knows from her experience as Speaker of the House that the negotiator told Chuck Schumer he did not have the votes. He could not get the votes. He shut it down. And one thing that changed my mind is yesterday I called him on the carpet and said, how are you leadership when you only get 9 Democrats to follow you? But then someone shared something that made me change a little of my perspective. They had exactly the number they needed to not shut down. So he gave cover to a ton of Democrats that probably in common sense terms knew their voters would backlash if they shut the government down. And honestly,
in coverage to the GOP to do whatever the heck they want to do.
Nobody's fooling themselves. It's a minority. They don't have the math. It's just basic math. There are facts there. It's not an opinion. They cannot avoid this. And if they bent the knee and pushed back just to show the public they were fighting, we would have ended up worse off. They would have gutted it even more.
They're going to do it anyway.
Legally so, though. So right now we're in the courts. We have more than 2,000 cases because of Doge and Elon Musk. I believe in the court system. I believe in the judges. I believe the one stopgap will be that moment. But when you cave and say, well, they're not listening to the rules anyway, well, you're giving them a shutdown, which legally allows them to do exactly what they're doing right now.
In a shutdown, veterans would be harmed. They wouldn't get their VA
benefits. They're already being harmed. No one is fighting for the American people, and it's feckless and it's
Shutting down the government is not fighting for the American people. It costs the economy billions of dollars.
This man
People don't
has
get their
destroyed so
benefits.
much in 1 month. Give it a minute. I think that
give them more time to shut them down.
I think that the Democrats are going to pull themselves together.
But as we speak, the courts actually stated that
every day there's some atrocity going on. Every
courts-
day I wake up. What did he do today?
The courts just ruled that more than 20,000 federal workers have to be reinstated because what Doge did was not lawful.
So listen, be careful, because this is what they want. They want this fighting. They want this infighting. What's happening now, Democrats don't have what they need to get what they want done. So again, people have to get out and you have to march. You have to start making noise.
That's right.
This is now coming back to us. The only way people are going to hear how angry you are is if you get out there. We've done it when people were being sent over to Vietnam disproportionately. We got out there and we made noise, and we made a difference. We made a difference. We made a difference when it came to women's rights. We made a difference when it came to black people's rights. If we don't get up and get out there and start making the noise we have to make, it's not going to change. So I appreciate, I love Chuck Schumer. I love all these people who dedicate themselves it is now on us. We have to do it. You want to save your Social Security? You got to get up and you got to start screaming. Because the only way they're going to understand that you're not going to put up with it is if you don't put up with it. That's the way.
Houston is done with The View. It all started when Alyssa Griffin attempted to fact-check her liberal co-host, who claimed that President Donald Trump's immigration policies targeted migrants who look a certain way. While Griffin was trying to clarify that it wasn't Canadians crossing the northern border, Sunny brought up a chat she had with Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. During that moment, Griffin realized Sunny was distracting viewers, and she tried to interrupt her before exposing her lies. Sunny felt humiliated in front of millions of Americans, and she decided to throw hands at her co-host during the commercial break. Producers had to jump in to stop her. And when something like this happens, you know someone is about to go back home.
It gets so heated. During commercial, I know something happened during commercial that the producer comes on.
So we all know. The View isn't exactly a peaceful talk show. These ladies bash each other and sometimes it gets extremely chaotic. That's part of what makes the show so addictive, watching strong personalities clash over controversial topics. But recently things between Sunny Hostin and her co-hosts, especially Alyssa Griffin, have been getting extra tense. It's not just about political disagreements. Insiders have been whispering that Sunny has been feeling fed up for a while now. And let's be real, you can see it on her face in every episode. The eye rolls, the sighs, the way she's been holding back while sitting next to her, that's not just for show. Something's been building behind the scenes, and fans have noticed this whole situation. According to reports, the producers have had to step in off camera to smooth things over between these ladies. And if you've been watching, you've probably caught those awkward moments when Sunny just looks done. Alyssa Griffin has cut her off mid-sentence on multiple occasions, and Sunny has often ended up giving her angry look. It's like the tension has been boiling just under the surface, waiting for the right moment to explode. And if you thought things were bad before, wait until you hear what happened behind the scenes.
How do you do that?
So I did.
Right?
I mean, no, it's
I'm
a
sure
fair
people,
point.
it's a fair question. I mean, you know who this person is.
Yeah.
He's the person that is grab him by the you-know-what, and you're working for him.
It all started when Alyssa Griffin praised the United States' immigration policies and changes under President Donald Trump, including his recently announced $5 million gold card to offer citizenship opportunities to the wealthiest of immigrants.